Hey everybody, great to have you here. Today I want to be talking about an incredibly important topic, and that's how cognitive behavioural therapy, or CBT, can help with anxiety. So first of all, what is it? What is CBT? Well, cognitive behavioural therapy is a type of psychotherapy, and it focuses on identifying and challenging unhelpful thoughts and behaviours. So it's based on the idea that our thoughts, feelings, and behaviour are all interconnected, and that by challenging negative thought patterns or behavioural patterns can then lead to changes in how we feel and how we act. So CBT is really structured, it's very much goal orientated, and it's typically a short-term thing. It's a practical approach, which is why I really liked it. It's a practical approach that teaches you actually specific skills to help you manage your problems and improve your quality of life. So what does it do? So it helps you to become more aware of inaccurate or negative thinking, so that then you can challenge situations more clearly and respond to them in a more effective way. And I'll explain a little bit more about that a little bit later on. So it involves a variety of techniques such as cognitive restructuring, exposure therapy, and skill training. And these are all designed to change the way you think, which will then change the way that you behave. So let's talk specifically about CBT and anxiety. Well, anxiety often involves, it's like a cycle of negative thoughts that leads to fearful feelings and avoidance behaviours, which only reinforce those negative thoughts, and it just keeps the cycle going. And if you followed my story on any of my socials and in previous videos, that was very much where I was. It was just a cycle of these thoughts that was really affecting how I felt and then how I behaved. And so CBT works to break that cycle. So, for example, cognitive restructuring helps you to identify and challenge irrational thoughts that contribute to anxiety. Exposure therapy gradually exposes you to the things that has triggered your anxiety, but in a very safe and controlled way. So that helps to build your confidence and to reduce the fear around that activity. Skill training teaches you actually practical coping strategies like relaxation techniques and problem solving skills. One of the best things about CBT, and what I liked about it, is that it's evidence based, meaning that it's been extensively researched and is proven to be effective. It's used by therapists worldwide to help people manage a range of issues from anxiety and depression to PTSD and OCD. So where was my journey? Where did that begin with CBT? Well, again, if you followed my story, I had a breakdown in 2015 and I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. So it actually ended up with I didn't leave the house for 6 months. And that was my anxiety kicking in. And I understand why that was the case. I won't really go into that here, but there was some really good reasons why. But that was anxiety, and anxiety is there to keep us safe. We do need anxiety. It keeps us safe, but it becomes a problem then when it actually stops you. It takes over, so that it stops you from doing things that you would normally want to do. And that's certainly where I was. And so I came across CBT by reading books and watching videos as well. And so what it helped me to do was pretty much as I've described, which was to just help me stop, instead of just going, oh no, I can't, and I'm not, and I'm feeling all these things. It made me actually, through various exercises that I did, and I'll share a few of them today, but it just made me stop and think about what it is what was that narrative, and how was that making me feel, and how could I change that? And so this is the bit about the cognitive bit, because I was kind of reacting on autopilot. Things would happen, I reacted and felt and behaved a certain way. The cognitive behavioural therapy made me kind of interrupt that thought process, if you like, and made me think, hang on a minute, but I'm not thinking like that anymore. Or actually, I'm looking at that differently now. I'm going to view that situation different. And by doing that, I'm going to be able to do that thing. Okay, I'm going to do that. And so it felt a bit clunky, if I'm honest, at first, because it's like, oh, I'm thinking, no, 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 I'm not doing that. I'm doing this now. But eventually it became the new way that I was thinking about things, where I was processing things. And I use these techniques to this day. And so one of the first ones I did was called Fact or Worry. And as it describes, it's an actual, so I'm thinking this, is that based on fact, or is that just a worry of mine? So, for example, in the past, I have felt that people thought I was crazy, and that I'd scared them off, I think. So when I did this exercise, it was like, well, am I basing that on the fact that people have actually said that? Or is that just me telling me that? And actually, nobody had said that when I was on the road to recovery. So actually, it wasn't a fact at all. It was just my brain, my chatter that I do. My chatter was just telling me these things. So in actual fact, okay, so that's not really true then. So I can change that. Another one that I used a lot was behavioural experiment. And that was just to, it's almost like testing it then. Okay, so let me just think. So if I do that, let's see how that works. And how do I feel doing that then? Does that make me feel better? Has that helped me do that thing or not? So it's a bit of trial and error, really, but it's almost, because I know it's an experiment, if it doesn't work out, it's okay, because that's why I was doing it. And that's how I found things that helped me to, to find my feet again and to find a way of getting outside. It's like, well, I'll just try this, but it's almost giving myself permission that if it didn't work out, it's okay, because I will just go back to the drawing board. I'll have another think, and I'll try something different then, until eventually, in different areas, different things that I was struggling with, I found my paths that I could actually follow. And another one that I'll talk about today, there was lots of other ones that I used, but another big one for me was called mental rehearsal. And I love this one. And this one actually, a couple of years ago, I was asked as part of, I have a network marketing business, and I was invited to speak on stage in front of 200 people. And I must admit, the thought of doing that was a bit overwhelming. It's not something I'd ever wanted to do, but having been invited to do it, I was thinking, okay, you know, let's do it then. It's a bit of a personal challenge. It's like, could I do that? I'm gonna say yes, and I'm gonna push myself. And so what mental rehearsal is, as it describes, really, it's planning out the scene in your head, but to the detail, because actually your brain can't distinguish with what's true and what's not true. So what's happened and what hasn't happened. And so what I did was I set it out. So I knew what I was wearing. I'd actually tried the outfit on and stuff. So I knew what I was going to be wearing. I knew what I was going to be talking about. In my brain, I rehearsed kind of what the room was going to look like, although I didn't know exactly, but kind of had a bit of an idea. It was at a hotel, like a conference room, so I had a bit of an idea of what it was going to look like. And I played it out in my brain over and over and over again, to the point, and like I say, not just with my outfit, but like being called up on stage. Where was I going to sit? Which side of the room was I going to be on? Was I going to be sitting at the end of the aisle? You know, how was I going to get up onto the stage? Where was I going to stand on stage? So absolutely worked it out to the detail. Two, I finished my talk now, and then I'm going back to my seat. And I was imagining going back to my seat with people clapping, and there would have been people there, and actually that was true, that who were just like, wow, never thought we'd see you on a stage. Um, and so, but I imagined all of that in my brain as well. And so, of course, when it came to the day, I was still nervous, but in my mind, it'd gone really well. And so, of course, my brain's thinking, yeah, yeah, well, we've done this, and it goes great. So, yeah, no problem. You've got nothing to worry about, you know? And so, yeah, it really works. And I used it again when I went to Florida last year and did my Fox TV interview, because again, I was quite nervous about it. And so I did the mental rehearsal and I did it exactly, you know, and again, I'd not been to the studio before. I didn't know what that was going to be like, but I kind of imagined it a bit in my brain and what it was going to be like. And it just really, really, it helps me to do things like that. Back in the day, it helped me register at a gym because I was really nervous. I knew it was going to be good for me, but I was really nervous about doing that. And so I'd been to the gym one day just to have a look round. So I kind of knew the layout of where the reception was and stuff. And then I just did the mental rehearsal, actually going up to the desk and, you know, finding where I needed to be and who I was going to meet for the induction and all of those things. And so it just really, really helps. The key to remember as well, though, in all of this is that if you're struggling with anxiety, you are not on your own. And it was one of the things, the biggest thing that I felt. I didn't know anybody else who'd had anxiety. I really felt all on my own. But you've got to remember that you're not. I speak to women all the time who are struggling with anxiety. What CBT does, though, it offers a powerful set of tools that will help you take control of your thoughts and improve your mental health. CBT played a massive part in getting me from being housebound to now sitting here today doing this. So don't forget, if you'd like to join our free Facebook community support group, where you can connect with other people, share your experiences, and to get support. I'll share the link to that underneath the video in the show notes. And thanks for watching this video. You know, and if you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, and leave a comment below if you've got any questions or any topics that you'd like me to cover in future videos. And if you're new here and new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and click on the bell so that you get notified when I upload new content. I'm really grateful for you being here. I hope this has helped you today. Until next time, take care and stay well.